Good evening, Bahamas. I'm Christina McNeil, and this is NB12 for Thursday, May 31st, 2012, broadcasting from the Cable 12 studios on Robinson Road. In news tonight, 2 banks robbed, and today, some of the culprits still on the loose. How the police force's divisional commanders are fighting crime in their communities. The Prime Minister charges parliamentarians to live up to the honor and dignity of the offices they've been called to serve in, and BTC union representatives take a stance on the government's take-back proposal. We have those stories and much more coming up tonight. Your NB12 starts right now. Thanks for joining us. The Royal Bahamas Police Force tonight searching for armed robbers who held up banks earlier today and absconded with significant amounts of cash. Nakia DeVoe has the details.
During a press briefing late this afternoon, police heads confirmed that they've arrested 2 men in connection with both those bank robberies. One man was apprehended shortly after the robbery at Scotiabank in Stella Maris, Long Island, and one shortly after the robbery of First Caribbean here in New Providence. However, police are still on the hunt for at least 3 men.
We are confident that we know who they are. It's only a matter of time, and we expect sometime today they ought to be in custody.
The robbery in Long Island was the first of the 2 incidents. According to Assistant Commissioner Anthony Ferguson, that incident happened around 10 this morning. He praised officers on that island for their quick response to the terrifying incident that resulted in the suspension of operations at the Stella Maris branch.
Two men entered the bank brandishing shotgun. The officers were on the alert. They responded, and as a result of this information, they arrested 1 person so far. 2 other men got into a waiting speedboat. And our last report, as we speak, the officers are in pursuit of those 2 persons.
Those 2 men are still in possession of an undetermined amount of cash. However, the man who got away after the New Providence bank robbery did not get away with any cash. Police recovered a significant amount of money from the apprehended suspect. That robbery at First Caribbean Bank at the Marathon Mall took place just an hour after the Long Island robbery, and the scene was quite similar.
2 men, again, entered that banking establishment, brandishing handgun. Again, as soon as they left the bank, alert officers arrested 1 of the suspects. The second suspect is still at large. We have information that we are working with, and again, it's only a matter of time before he is in custody. In this incident, a substantial amount of money were recovered, and we are confident that we have the right person.
Fortunately, no one was injured in any of the incidents. Police say they don't believe the 2 robberies to be related. Commissioner of Police Ellison Greenslade and Assistant Commissioner Ferguson urged bank robbers to turn themselves in. The police commissioner also had this message for members of the public.
Right now, as we speak, there are members of this community who know exactly where those bank robbers are. Turn them in. If you're as serious as the commissioner is, then turn them in. It's as simple as that.
Commissioner Greenslade also revealed that a man was apprehended shortly after stealing a vehicle this afternoon. He commended the police force for its quick response to reports of crime and says fundamental changes will be made to the organization to ensure more of this type of success moving forward. Reporting for NB12, I'm Nakia DeVoe.
Well, earlier this week, executive members of the Royal Bahamas Police Force announced they would be launching major operations to combat crime. And while all agree that crime continues to spiral out of control, divisional commanders say specific crimes occur more often in some areas. Jasmine Bonamy spoke to the senior officers and filed this report.
When it comes to crime, the island of New Providence has the most staggering statistics, but police in charge of each division on the island say their communities each have different issues. Our news team recently caught up with 6 of the 8 divisional commanders here in New Providence over the holiday as they set up roadblocks during the Whit Monday holiday. While they all agree that crime is a major issue in their communities, the senior officers revealed that the challenges differ by jurisdiction. But they insist they've come up with a unified and hard-nosed approach to tackling their specific problems.
In the coming days, weeks, and months, we will take the police station in the community, where we will use the assistance for the station van, mobile van, we will set up in the community.
Superintendent Fernando says in his division, which covers Nassau Village, South Beach, and Pinewood Gardens, drug houses and firearms continue to be a major concern.
We have a number of drug houses, drug activities. In the night, you have good citizens living in these areas where guns are being fired every night. Cars are pulling up to houses, and in and out drugs are being sold. So we're going to take it to them. We're going to deal with those individuals. We have already identified them, and we have put some strategy in place to deal with them.
Over in the Eastern Division, violent crimes aren't all that rampant, says Officer in Charge Superintendent Robert Sherman Young. The senior police official says crimes against property lead the way in serious crimes.
Within this particular section of the Eastern Division, the Yamakro area going down into Sandlands Village is primarily housebreaking. And we also, in the Foxwood area, we have some drugs and firearms issues there.
And it's pretty much the same story for the Southern and Western divisions. Senior officer in both divisions say housebreaking and stealing vehicles continue to plague the inner city and upscale communities.
In the Southern Division, right now we're faced with a number of shootings. We have some measures in place to deal with that, and we're dealing with that as we speak.
We've had a stealing from vehicles, not so much stolen vehicles, but stealing from vehicles where persons are breaking into vehicles and stealing items from vehicles. We've put a team in place to ensure that this does not happen. I can say we have seen a significant decrease since we put a team in place to ensure that this does not happen.
But in the downtown commercial district that falls under the Central Division, it's stealing from vehicles that's most common.
We still have the cars. We're concerned about people, vehicles being broken into. That is of major concern. Downtown is the populated area. Everything, the nightclubs, everything happens downtown. We still saying there's some personal responsibility.
While all insist that they're clamping down on crime, some, like Superintendent Theophilus Cunningham, insists it's hard to see the numbers go down when so many reoffenders are back on the street shortly after being arrested.
Our basic challenge sometimes is we're constantly locking up the criminals and we're placing them before the courts, and we find they're given bail and they become a challenge to us. They commit the same crimes over again.
Reporting for NB12, I'm Jasmine Bonamy.
And police are still looking for the person responsible for a late-night shooting that left a man dead. According to police, shortly after 11 p.m., police were alerted to a shooting at First Street off Robinson Road. Police say they are uncertain of the circumstances surrounding the fatal shooting. They're asking members of the public who may have information regarding the shooting to contact police at 919-911, the Central Detective Unit, or Crime Stoppers at 328-TIPS. Also, a young man was today arraigned in a magistrate's court for the May 7th murder of Bridget Williams. Jeffrey Brennan of New Providence appeared before Chief Magistrate Roger Gomez late this afternoon to answer to the murder charge. Williams, age 42, was killed in a shooting incident that ended with a car crash that killed her 22-year-old son Rashad Williams in the Blue Hill Road and Dunmore Avenue area. The mother and son were residents of Broome Street. Police allege that Brennan was inside a Honda Inspire when he got into an altercation with Rashad, which resulted in his mother being shot and killed. After his mother was killed, police say Rashad attempted to stop the car but was allegedly struck down by the driver and also killed. Police are not classifying Rashad's death as a murder. Outside court today, Brennan's family sobbed. Brennan pleaded not guilty. The case was adjourned until August 28th for a preliminary inquiry. He was remanded to prison. Well, the Water and Sewage Corporation releasing a press statement today warning its customers about a scam that has been operating over the past few weeks. The release says officials at the corporation have been advised that individuals have been posing as employees of the Water and Sewage Corporation. It adds that those imposters were allegedly telling water and sewage customers that they needed to enter their homes in order to install water-saving devices. The statement read, "It is not the general practice of the corporation to enter the homes of its customers unless specifically requested for service related to investigation purposes." It added that the corporation's responsibility ends at the meter. The statement went on to say WSC employees are always outfitted in uniforms with the corporation's logo and are required to wear proper identification cards while driving corporation vehicles. The corporation advised its customers to contact police if they suspect any suspicious behavior.